in the end of the day, that's not love. Like what you're explaining isn't love. And what is love to you, you know? Like that love is...
All right, y'all. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do you want to take this intro out?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It's it's Ray's podcast. I just keep forcing myself in it. But so here's
I think at this point,
Array of Thoughts with Jervie Peralta. I don't know why I sing. I sing when I'm awkward.
I love that jingle. Wait, can you just make a jingle for this podcast?
With Array of Thoughts featuring Jervie Peralta. That's not going to be the jingle. It's going to be something else. But obviously, when I'm put on the spot after having finished the other half of my lemon poppy seed muffin, shout out to Midwife Bakery. That, you know what's interesting? Your coffee fact of the day. It's not a fact. Midwife Bakery or Baker is featured in a lot of cafes in the Bay Area.
Oh.
Fun fact.
Wow.
Fun fact. So a lot of the baked goods that you see in places like St. Frank's, Academic, I think also sells it. 1 ounce. I believe possibly Blue Bottle. Speaking of Blue Bottle,
hey, we are continuing this tradition
coffee series
of going to different coffee spots, highlighting them. Shout out to Blue Bottle. And having conversation
with our tea and coffee. So today we already had our coffee for today. Same fits from previous episode.
Same fits. This time it's not empty.
It is. It's not empty. This actually has milk this time.
This is a tea.
I know. I love that bit. Anyway, it's not a bit. So it could be. I got their herbal tea because I wasn't interested in caffeinating myself as much. I mean, tea still has caffeine. Yeah. It's just not as rough as coffee for me. So
same.
I got an herbal tea this time.
I got the hojicha
latte
with what milk? She ordered it for me.
Oat milk
Yeah.
latte.
Cool.
Yep. Gorgeous, beautiful.
Because it's cold, and I need something to warm my hands while we.
And he was actually interested in buying like cold drinks. He was like browsing. He was like, ooh, and I was like, Ray. Oh yeah, go ahead. Tell them what you were gonna
do. Like iced tea.
You can still get it some other day. It's just like now is just really not the logical time. Right. As a Virgo, I just have to be logical.
Here's the thing. Have you ever had ice cream on a cold day or craved ice cream on a cold day?
No. Well, maybe I have, but I was probably in a heated area, like, an apartment with like a heater.
That's true.
But I don't remember having ice cream out and about when my hands are freezing. I'm just not a cold person. Like, I don't like the cold.
Yeah. Anyway.
As you could tell. I'm freezing.
Anyway, I was so close to wearing a sweater today. I didn't tell you that earlier, but I should have worn it. When you said that you're gonna wear something comfy, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, fuck, I don't want to change anymore. So I went with it, and I'm regretting it. But here's the thing: we don't regret anything. We just move forward and learn. You
don't remember your day; you remember your memories. I totally saw that on Instagram. I'm going to be really honest with you.
Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. Anyway. We're moving on. Today's episode is going to be about...
I got it. So this was a conversation that I kind of... Or an idea that I've kind of had in the back of my mind for a while. And I went up to Jervie and was like, hey, are we addicted to sadness?
Are we?
Are we?
Is that the question? Are we?
And the reason why I'm kind of saying this is just, coming from especially two expert singles.
This commentary is starting to hurt. First of all,
you're the one who
painfully yes
coined the term.
Just because I coined it, I'm still allowed to not like it, Ray.
Fair.
I'm still allowed to not like it.
Fair. I think, and the reason why I've had this idea for a while now, and I kind of wanted to understand it, kind of dissect it a little bit.
Especially two beings who are both very creative, and we express ourselves in our creations. So like you with your dance and your content, myself with my music. I write like songs. It's not something that I have shared publicly just yet, but it is something that I will play.
Hey, write on the comments if you want to.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna put you
No,
out
it's
there.
gonna be awkward.
I already put you out
So
there.
we'll see. But no, I still perform and I write and I play these musics to my friends and they relate, and like there's a way for me to like express myself and crave these experiences, and the songs that I write are from experiences. And I guess to your point when you had asked me, am I addicted to sadness?
Right.
I did reflect a lot, but also I can say that I crave when I'm in my high, happy moments and there's not a lot of things going on in my life and I just enjoy it being myself, and a lot of things are neutral and there's peace. There are parts of me that miss that sadness, that like heartbrokenness, that like longing, that like, ugh, like to be in that space, to be able to express myself creatively, because a lot of my songs were written in a very deep, dark, like loneliness, like in space. So that's what I'm afraid, like going into dating, it's like, am I chasing after people who are unavailable because of the fact that I know and I find comfort in it? Like, do I find comfort in the fact that they're unavailable, and is that the reason why I crave them? Because obviously there are other people who make themselves available, who tell themselves to be available, and they are great people to be around and I like them. But why is it that I don't have this like romantic connection?
Yeah.
But moving on to what you were talking about though.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. We're going to touch on that in a little
We're
bit.
going to unpack this just a little bit more. But yeah, so the idea of like why I kind of had this thought of like, do I personally crave sadness, is going back to like that creative standpoint, right? Because a lot of my, even prior to my last relationship and then and then after, right, a lot of my creativity was coming from music and that relatability in music, and translating that into what I was feeling in the moment, right? So if I'm here feeling loneliness and then I'm listening to a song by Giveon, right? And then
You've been there.
And then all of a sudden, like, I had this like spur of the moment, like, I need to shoot this. Am I addicted to that creative process?
Yeah, because there's this spark. Like,
Right.
you, like, for some reason you get initiated. Like, there's this purpose inside of you that, like
I need to
this
put it
motivation,
out there,
yeah.
right? Like, I
an
need
inspiration, spark of inspiration from that sadness.
Right. And then it comes to a point where, like, is my art, right, only driven by sadness, especially when, like, now I'm in a much positive and more peaceful
state.
driven state of mind, that can I still make art if I'm not in this realm of sadness? Because it's hard for me to kind of I guess like I can remember the experiences, but I can't piece everything together and get those feelings back if I'm trying to act for the camera.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to think creatively, like, what is a good shot to portray the sadness, so that whoever is watching or seeing my art could feel that relatability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know.
As you were speaking, the song by Temps started playing in my head.
Which one?
Ooh, ooh.
Keep going.
Oh no!
No, more so because, like, I'm trying to remember the song. Not for, I mean, like, of course you have a great voice, but like.
Wait, I forgot the name, but I know it's by Thames.
Yeah.
Either it's Gold or something else.
Yeah.
But you were playing it yesterday in the break room, and it was an edit of the behind the scenes.
Oh, Free Mind.
Okay, yeah, it's Free Mind, not
Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song came in my head, but it's by Thames.
Yeah, I freaking love Thames.
Thames.
Like, it's very just melodic and just like very easy in my brain. You know?
Maybe that's the thing. Does sadness sell? Is that why? Like, I am a big subscriber of sad music. Ooh, am I a big subscriber? Like, okay, I'm gonna be honest right now. When I need to cry, people will turn and watch movies. I need to listen to one song that will describe what I'm going through. Cue the tears. It's suddenly raining in California. Like, you know, it's Frank Ocean. It's Daniel Caesar. It's SZA. It's so many. It's so many artists.
There's so many love songs, and then there's so many heartbreak songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's about yourself, and you know,
And is it because of that relatability, or is it?
Is it because it's the only way that we can move past this feeling of loneliness?
Right. But then the argument, right, and how I can kind of see it is that we are trying to move on, right? If we're trying to, sorry, I don't like to say the term move on. I like to say move forward, because then it's still a chapter in your life that you get to, that you still have. You
don't move past it. You get used to it.
Right. Oh, is that a bar?
No, it's from a song.
It's from a soap bar?
It's from a soap bar. Wow, we're washing ourselves today. No, I get it.
But you know what I mean? Because, like, it's like, it comes back to, like, are we... Because, okay, like, kind of putting more context and structure a little bit in my thoughts. I'm thinking, like, post-breakup, right?
Okay.
And I'm here, it's okay if I'm here trying to tell my friends to, like, people move forward differently, people cope differently, and I'm trying to embody what I give advice to friends, to myself.
Because that's so easy.
Right. It's never easy.
It's never easy.
But it's like if we're constantly sad, right?
Okay.
And we crave this feeling of relatability.
Yeah.
Then how
we just have a world full of sad people. Sorry.
We do.
We do.
It seems like
that's what it seems.
It seems like my TikTok algorithm makes it seem like.
Mine are a lot of poets about heartbreak, and it's so beautiful. I will journal with those poetry running in my head, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I have the right to be mad. Like, and there's this thing. Sorry for hijacking your moment here. Okay. There's this thing where somebody was like, you know, when you're feeling really sad, there's a way for you to. There's so many ways to move past it, as a lot of people are stating, right? So there's constantly change what you feel uncomfortable in, stay in there until you're used to it. There's the mental aspect of things, like saying when there is no hope, you just have to embrace the fact that there is no hope and be okay with the fact that there is no hope. And that is how you have mental stamina and endurance and being able to cope with things that are hard.
Right.
I can talk about this because one of the biggest things that had happened in my life was like losing my mom. And that's a really big figure in my life to have lost at like 21. And I've lost her to breast cancer. And I'm still like, that's a really big part of me. But I don't think I have yet to experience something as devastating as that yet in my life, even with the people that I go out with or my friends.
Right.
Nothing is ever going to be that strong. Yet or right now, like there's just nothing else. But that's what helped me push through a lot of things, and a part of me was afraid that like I've gone numb, but that's not the case. Like I can still feel the emotions, there's still empathy, there's still heartbreaks, but knowing the fact that you can get through it, like there's so many ways. So I spoke about mental endurance, I spoke about staying in it and finding in it. And then there's this other thing that I've recently found out was about finding the next strongest emotion. Sophie, if you're listening to this, you reminded me of this the other day because I was telling her about something that I was going through, and Sophie was creative Sophie, love her.
Love Sophie.
If you're listening to this, hey.
Well, I'll cut it so that there's a specific one so that she can see it.
Yeah.
We'll tag her.
So there was this thing where I was telling them this feeling that I was having, and I was sad, and they had mentioned, you know, I'm listening to your story right now, Jervie, and I can tell you that this is coming from a place of hurt, and you have every right to be mad. And I was like, I'm about to break down. Like, I know. And I was like, I'm about to break down. I'm on my lunch, but I'm about to break down. I didn't, but, you know, because I didn't feel comfortable at the time, but I did cry that same night. So about this, it's because it's like, yeah, the next strongest emotion is hurt. I have every right to be mad, and I don't have to be sad. I can feel the next emotion and still be fine with moving past that. But because with that emotion is this like sadness attached to it, which reminds me, I should probably watch Inside Out, the movie. They're gonna
same. I feel like I feel like a lot of the TikTok algorithm, and then like sometimes you'll read the comments and it's literally they'll quote something from
Inside Out.
Movie. And I'm just like,
I haven't seen it in a while. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight. That's for sure.
But I mean, I get that, right? So like being able to kind of process these emotions and then go into the next. It's like the
5 steps
of grief, right? But then here's the thing: there are times where myself and probably many other people who get stuck in that sadness.
And this is where the addiction and the obsession comes in.
And
with
that's
sadness.
where exactly, right? Because at that point, are we starting to create an identity around that?
Comfortability.
Right? A comfortability where
a safety net.
I'm going in, and whenever I meet new people or I'm talking to my friends and I'm like, they ask me how my day is, and I'm like, I cried. And then it's great in the first few months, years, however you want to cope with it. But at what point does it seem like now you're
that's become who you are?
That's become who you are, and you're drinking the poison knowing that you are drinking poison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at that point,
everything in moderation. When does sadness become dangerous and toxic to you? I guess is the point.
Right. And addicting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like any other type of drug, right?
There's actually a neuroscience behind this. Because when you're sad, there is a hormone or a drug that your brain releases, cortisol. And getting a hit of that, your body starts to crave it, and that's why you start to get anxious. But that makes sense, and that connects the dots to a lot of this conversation. And like your brain does find, there's ways to rewire your brain. And if you start to cry and it becomes a habit, your brain starts to get wired, because how there's neuroplasticity in our brains. And if you check your messages looking for a message from your ex every single morning, and there it is, and there it is, and there it is, and then the next day there is none, that's gonna hit you like a truck. That's gonna hit you like a truck because of the fact that you have created a neuroplasticity, like a neural pathways in your brain that's like, this morning I'm gonna check it, and if there is none, I'm now disappointed. And it's that feeling, right, of like, I get this reward from seeing a message from my ex. Like, if you're continuing to do this, like, that's just hurtful for yourself. And if you recognize that, that's when we have to be self-aware. And I am a living testament to that. But like, it's about recognizing, for me, obviously there's still times where it's like super rough, but I have seen this, and I've found this with multiple of my exes, where I will stay in contact
and
with
what's
them.
Crazy about that, because now that you're kind of saying that, and I'm kind of like replaying the things in my head, like I would again, kind of going back to like the creative standpoint, right, where I love creating, right? And if I can't feel out, like let's say if I'm wanting to freestyle to a song that's hitting hard, but then I am not able to process it the way that I'm thinking in my brain, I will go find sadness. I will unblock my ex. I will, you know what I mean? And that's where it gets to the point where, like, at that point in my life, I can confidently say I was addicted to that sadness, right? Whereas now it's like, if I listen to listen to a Giveon song, listen to a you know, As I Am by Justin Bieber, because we were just listening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there now, and I know how to kind of define
draw
and draw it out or draw it in. But it's not, and it's just me reminding me like I was sad at that moment. And I can still create that art if I wanted to, but it's not lingering in the way where like I crave sadness anymore. You know what I mean?
You touched on experiencing this as a younger self, right? Like being a former, like knowing that you were once in that position and feeling sad and feeling all of those emotions. And this is still something that I've yet to reflect on as the train comes closer into our vicinity.
If
we have
talk
microphones.
Closer to the microphone.
It'll be better, and it'll not pick
better,
up the.
But not on the camera.
Okay. Hey.
Oh, maybe not that one. Hello, everyone. Turn down your volumes here. Again.
This may be a horrible pun, or maybe a well-timed one, but I have lost my train of thought. Because it went that way, kids. It went that way. Anyway, that was a good one. Hey, listen.
I'm kidding.
You know, we're two supportive friends here, but now that you've seen Ray's...
every venture, maybe not comedy.
That's okay. I have my other supporters who think I'm funny looking. Just kidding.
We need friends that will also, you know, humble you down a little.
Is that why you keep me around?
Again, this is all voluntary.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what were we? Okay, your younger self.
Yeah, we were talking about
healing that part.
Mm-hmm.
Something about it, it's like there's this reflection question from The Mountain Is You.
Yeah.
And it's by Brianna West. Ooh, I really don't want to mess up that name. But it's fine.
We hold that thought so that you could
look it up.
Yeah. And then I could change the camera.
Yes, most definitely. Okay, we're filming.
And we're back from our
little break.
Sponsored commercial
moment
break.
Of peace.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So I did look it up. It is Brianna Wiest, and The Mountain Is You is the book. The part that I was talking about is a reflection of think about the time where you felt like the pain was insurmountable, and moving back to cut to now, your present self, and how little you no longer think about that problem. Yeah. And I can say, and my friends who were going through it with me, because I was just like calling up all my friends and crying to them, and we would like drive and be in the cars and like just listen to sad music, and God bless their hearts, like y'all, like I was crying, and they just gave me so much support. Luckily, I'm past that. But I was like, wow, no, the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This was like back in 2019,
right,
maybe.
Yeah.
Love's beautiful. That just, I like what a love. Maybe 18.
It's your truth.
It's my truth. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
I have figured it out.
Yeah.
What is this? Some friend you are, Ray. Yeah, go ahead and add your quote, please.
Well, and I want to just kind of quote this just because I've heard it in other podcasts about just love. Jay Shetty, right? And it kind of hit. I haven't watched it, but it was from a quote from WandaVision.
I have watched it. I have watched it.
Have you heard that quote before? Or
it came back because I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah. So the quote is, "What is grief but love persevering?" And when I first heard that quote,
tears.
It really hit because it's like it kind of anchors that emotion a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to like me being addicted to sadness is because I love really hard.
Really hard, yeah.
And the last podcast, right? We were talking about where if I don't try to find thought and put thought and effort in my own relationships that I have currently, then I never loved that person to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting effort into healing myself.
Yeah.
And so that is
which is a part of your grieving.
Which is part of my grieving,
Mm-hmm.
and why potentially and possibly why I was addicted to that sadness during my coping period.
Yeah.
Right? Because I still feel sad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still will subscribe to sadness here and there, but it's just a part of that subscription list of other emotions, right?
And let's talk about this too, since I feel like the sadness part of it is about breakup. Right. Because this is, like, we have to say that. Like,
right.
a lot of the reasons why we're sad is because, you know, we also do look at breakups. And I know a lot of people in my life who do not want a relationship, who don't want to explore relationships, really close people in my life, because of the fact that they're just gonna break up anyway. And that's a known quote. And, like, you know, statistics, there's 50% divorce, all that stuff. And it's like, well, in the end of the day, that's not love. Like what you're explaining isn't love.
Right.
And what is love to you, you know? Like, that love is grieving. Like, grieving is love persevering. Like, if you truly love somebody and you don't make them happy, that they break up with you and they find somebody else that makes them happy, my love for them shows me that, like, I'm happy with the fact that they're happy. I don't have to make them happy. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But yeah, to your point, there are ways where you show your love to them after the fact that you have been with them. And to you, that's learning from what was done in the relationship and continuing to embody a better, higher self.
Yeah. I'm just lost for words.
You lost your train of thought. Too bad there's no more train.
Because it's gone.
Also, that was my joke, dude. Come on. Come up with better ones.
I'm not
Just
considering
kidding.
myself to be a comedian either. So, but no, and I guess that's why like I kind of like I appreciate this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Because again, like that thought of like, am I addicted to sadness? That just kept lingering in the back of my head.
Well,
like,
another question to you before, I'm sorry, again, I'm hijacking it. Like, after you're addicted to sadness, there has to be some sort of reward for you to be addicted. Are you happy? Like, is it, like, are you happy being sad? Or is there a healing aspect of it that I'm like, you know what, I was sad and after crying, I feel better. There's less stress. Like, is there that for you? Because sometimes when I cried, I just have a puffy face and I just regret it. I'm like, well, I was about to cuss. Oh, well, fuck. Like, my face is puffy and the next day, and I have a lot of serums that, like, help with that. Vitamin C, caffeine.
Right. Is there a reward? I think I think what I'm addicted then is the relief, is the idea of the relief of releasing it, right? So so I guess now
you let it build up.
I let it build up so much, right, to the point where now I'm feeling this tremendous amount of emotion, and then
now you're just describing edging,
right? And I'm letting that emotion flow around my body and feeling it out, where it starts to release itself.
Yeah.
And then I feel a lot better. Right?
Yeah.
But then, and it goes back to because I'm going through that motion of creative output.
Yeah, an expression.
That it just feels like this is the best art that I'm producing right now. And so what I'll do then is build that sadness up again. Yeah. And then when it starts tearing my whole life apart, right? Yeah. I release it.
Yeah, through expression.
Right.
And then you start craving it again.
And then you start craving it
and
again.
And this cycle.
And then, is that toxic?
Is it hurtful? Is it harmful to you? No one can really answer. I mean, that's the thing. Like, no one can really answer that aside from yourself. Like, is it becoming detrimental to your health? Is this the life? Is this the purpose that you like for your current present?
Right.
Right?
I think, well, is it hurtful emotionally? because you're building so much pressure in your head and craving other things on top of what sadness brings, and the only output really is just to release it.
The problem I have with that is that then you start looking at the expectations. It's like, well, I've gone through so much worse.
Right.
I can accept this. I can see this. I've persevered to so much worse stuff that I'm okay with this. You start to become okay with a lot of things that really shouldn't be okay. Right. And I can say that because I have experienced that same way. Right. It's like, I'm a strong person because you constantly put yourself into these like emotional depths and emotional pressures that you become like stronger emotionally, yes, but then you start to accept things that shouldn't be accepted in the first place. And that's something that I've seen from my childhood, from my mom having gone through so much as a child, then to having a toxic relationship with my dad, and just continuously like accept the treatment that she was getting from my dad. And me seeing that, I also think this is still something I'm working on. Like, I also think I'm like, you know what? Emotionally, I am strong enough to be able to take this. And you have witnessed it yourself, like having dated people and continuously be addicted to people who I continuously make excuses for. And that's not fine. Like, that's not fine at all. And that shouldn't be the case. But that's, you know, you have to recognize that that's what's happening when we do put ourselves in these situations.
And move accordingly.
Correct.
Because we can either stay in here, in this pocket, knowing we're drinking the poison, or we could say, I don't want it anymore.
I'll take 2, please.
I'll take 2 poisons.
I'll take 2 poisons. Well, the thing is when it comes to expressing, and there's this poll, and I guess I would ask the listeners too, is, look, I was at a party once, and I was in a party with a lot of creatives. There were musicians and there were screenwriters. And I had said something about how I was in a really happy place at the time, and I was like, you know, vacationing, and I said, you know, sometimes I just want to be heartbroken because I want to be able to write something I'm passionate about. Because I'm passionate about when I get heartbroken, because I'm passionate about the person that I've just lost, or quote unquote lost, because of the future that I'm grieving, obviously. But I had said that, and I constantly said that, and I was single at the time, and I'd constantly said, still am, I'd constantly said that, and then one of the other musicians had said, you know, I agree, a lot of my music, a lot of the things that I've written is from a place of heartbreak. And then there was a screenwriter who was adamant that that isn't the case. And she goes, you know, no, I don't believe you have to be heartbroken to be able to write something that's beautiful and meaningful and expresses sadness or happiness, or you don't have to have experienced that. You just have to understand the emotion. And I was like, well, you're wrong. Like, I was like, you absolutely know nothing about, obviously, like, I was like, in retrospect, dude, like, you are so right. Like, to this person, I forgot her name, I'm so sorry, but this was like years ago. You're so correct. You're at 100%, you're right. And I was just immature for thinking that you have to be going through a heartbreak to be able to express something and write something that's meaningful to you. It is not. You just have to be able to have empathy and sympathize, you know, and understand the feeling and emotion, and be able to create art and music for yourself.
No, my OG
His hojicha latte dropped to the ground, but there's no more. So with that said, like, do y'all feel the same way? Is that a thing? Probably is. You know, like, because you're right. Like, if you're writing from a place of hurt and continuously thinking that your purpose is to be able to express, right, and you find a career, that is just so harmful.
Right, because again, you're putting yourself in a pocket, and then that's where the craving comes from.
Yeah.
Right, because
100%.
You're continuously identifying. Last podcast, right? Identity. You're continuously identifying as a sad person, but I can still be happy and understand what melancholy and somber feels like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can still be happy, and if I wanted to create the sense of anger, right, I could
start to draw from your previous experiences or other people's experiences.
Because it's yeah.
There's autobiography books. There are also biography books that are written by other people for other people.
Right.
Writing, expression, art. Oh my goodness, beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah. Do you have any other like input on just
sadness in general,
or your experiences of other feelings of
well, we touched upon that too. Yeah. I'm reflecting a lot on my previous experiences with dating, and you know, a lot of the people that I'm attracted to are, like I said earlier, like unavailable. It turns out are unavailable, or the people that I want to continuously spend more time with. And like there's this aspect in my brain that's like, maybe I am only chasing after them because I know for the fact that the answer is going to be no. Like I'm used to that, and it's because I've constantly said that like I crave heartbreak, and I found safety and comfortability in feelings of hurt, and that's not safe, and that's something that I'm gonna reflect on. But I'm also not the type of person where the immediate change is just automatically gonna be like, you know, like just because I don't know if this person, or like I don't feel this strong romantic connection to this person that I'm gonna start dating them. No, that's not the case. I feel like now as I get older, I'm starting to understand that, you know, love isn't something that happens with a spark. Like it's something that you choose to like continuously be there. Oh, there's this book, Jay Shetty book, the book you were talking about. Yeah. So Love and Like, he talks about liking somebody as like a flower, like a bouquet of flowers. You get to pick it. Pick what stands out to you. And love is giving it everything that it needs and putting the work in of like providing the soil, sun, water, and providing the perfect environment for the love to grow. Right. And that's, you know, that to me is something that I'm just barely learning. Not barely, obviously, but like that's
putting it to practice. You know what you need to do. But we haven't built the practice to train that muscle in ourselves.
Yeah, and I guess I still that's it. Right. Like we just need to put it into work and practice and start doing the reflection. But I guess the work now is to find the right seed.
Bars.
She's single, ladies. Just kidding. Anyways.
You two ladies. I
hate this. Okay, we're horrible people.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, again, let us know if you guys have made it this far in the podcast. Again, I appreciate y'all for taking the time and effort.
In case you're wondering, by the way, we're at El Camino Park.
El Camino Park.
Yeah. Right across Stanford Shopping Center.
And really close to Menlo College.
Yeah.
Home of Facebook.
Home of, hey, speaking of which, that's a close. This is it. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me again. Yeah, it's been so much fun.
No, thank you for always joining. I've always have great conversations with you. Jervie is a...
I'm gonna need a copy of that.
Jervie is a family friend of the podcast, and then always
not blood related, but family friend.
Yeah, and will always be welcome in this podcast space. But I do want to appreciate y'all for always taking the time and effort to watch it all through. And if you made it this far, let us know in the comments. Like, are you addicted to love, and how do you try and cope with your own sadness, right? If you're willing to be vulnerable.
Love it.
And that is the Array of Podcast with Jervie Rose Peralta. You guys continue to shine.
Bye.
We all deserve it. Bye.
Wow, what a great